Hello, 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 and welcome to the Authentically Healing podcast with your host, Bridget P. Brown, licensed clinical social worker. And today's episode, we are going to be talking about self care maintenance. I am so filled, so amazingly blessed. I've had an amazing time in Colorado. Today is my last night here, and I definitely needed this pause time, this check in time with myself, so that I can now go back to my real life and function. But with that, it's like this self care um, routine that I've had all week. Now it's all about maintenance and what that looks like. So I want to just um, kind of give a overall reflection of what this week was for me. This soul healing solo adventure that I was definitely on. In these amazing, beautiful mountains, which is so symbolic. Because usually, when you want, in the Bible, when, Moses would leave to go up in the mountains, or Jesus went and left the people to go up to the mountains, it was a symbolization of just a separation. It was a symbolization of going up to your higher sense of self, connecting yourself and grounding with God so that you can be filled and just satisfied. And I feel that on my journey here on the plane and driving 2 hours and a half to the location where I'm staying in, it was so symbolic to being surrounded by these beautiful mountains, going into the mountains, hiking and enjoying the creek and all that self-care time where I had so many opportunities to just check in with God and just feel him in the atmosphere, feel him in nature, and feel him within myself. Before I came, I was totally activated, totally triggered. My tolerance level was super, super low. I was experiencing a lot of countertransference in my business with clients. I was experiencing a lot of activation at home with just all the many fires that you got to put out and the many hats that I wear, right? This was such a great time to check in. I know initially I had said the first day that I came with my friend, forgiveness and intuition. These are two stuff characters that I have in my office, and also in my home. We have a self care um, corner, a self-care room and a calming corner in my home where it's like a check-in space. And these characters not only work for my kiddos, but they work for me as well, because I was struggling with listening to Bridget and listening to what God was saying for me and moving away from my intuition, dismissing what I was feeling in my spirit and what I felt that the direction that I needed to go in. And I had paused intuition, and intuition wanted to come and join because that was the piece that I needed to reconnect with. And then, of course, we have forgiveness, who was offering me the opportunity for some self forgiveness. I was dealing with some shame and just some old memories and experiences that was coming up for me, and I was feeling it in my body but having a really hard time just self-regulating. And that was all because I wasn't making time for me. And I just feel like I had a full circle moment because this whole week I was being intentional about leaning into intuition and leaning into what I believe God is saying for me. and also leaning into self-forgiveness and extending grace to myself in order for me to heal and move on and not stay stuck and stagnant in that space that I was in. So I wanted to just share um, some self-care tips and just a description of what it looks like to have some self-care maintenance. Um, I needed before when I started to pay attention to Bridget, to tap into and listen to her. And a lot of times we tend to dismiss ourselves, dismiss our needs because everything else is louder, and then we quiet our own voices, which essentially puts us in a box and puts us in a place of isolation. And when we isolate, it gets us in our heads, it keeps us up here, and it doesn't move us into our heart space. And also, the grace and forgiveness that I was needing in order to reconnect with myself was exactly what this trip created for me. And I know for me, it was a 7 day long solo trip that I've never taken time out for myself. Yes, I travel. Yes, I go away, but it's either with my husband, with my friends, with my family. It's never just Bridget. This is the first time that I just went on this adventure and knew nothing about where I was going. Just kind of went with my intuition because I knew that I needed to do this for myself, and I did it, and it was so exciting. I'm still excited. I'm rejuvenated with so much amazing energy. But what did I get out of this trip was total reconnection with God. I had kind of paused him, didn't want to hear what he had to say because I had this ongoing to-do list and many things that I needed to get to do. And I just didn't submit myself to just grounding, right? And settling and sitting. I just kept myself in my headspace and not moving with my heart, and just being connected to the experience. I was more doing things religiously, and just not really tuned into the practice of being present and mindful. So this trip has definitely slowed me down, taken me out of the social media world, which I'm actually enjoying, just the self care and disconnection from scrolling and news feeds and responding. It's also allowed me time to pause my life and the many hats that I wear. So it's just me here. I don't have to worry about the kids or the husband or the responsibilities at work or the house or the things that need to get done. Yeah, that's gonna be coming tomorrow, but for now, I'm gonna enjoy my night, and I'm going to create a plan that's going to keep me focused to take a pause and to create a safe, quiet space for myself in the midst of all the chaos. So I'm actually going to end this episode with creating a calm space for ourselves that we can create in any space. We're going to create a container. I'll let you know as we go. I was able to practice mindfulness and actually reconnect to positive coping techniques like journaling and reading my Bible, praying and really grounding myself in listening to what God is saying to me and moving out in that intuition, right? I practice completing some EMDR, professional development training for myself as I am moving into completing my EMDR certification as a trauma therapist. I was feeling a lot of countertransference. So I meet with my consultant, but I also had purchased a couple of trainings around self care, um, secondary trauma for clinicians, um, polyvagal nerve information and EMDR, dissociation and EMDR. So, just like a lot of the things that I was experiencing or that clients experience, I was able to be a student and learn how all these different behaviors and triggers that I was experiencing was all due to burnout and all due from not taking time for myself. So, professional development was part of my self care time. And it helped me to resolve some counter transference that I was having. So when I go back to work next week, I'll be nice and ready for clients. And also just allowing myself to remind me about self-preservation and healthy applying of benevolence detachment. So benevolence detachment is just disconnecting from certain things that don't feel well for me, right? Or for you, and just vocalizing that and just saying it in love and detaching from guilt. So a lot of times we do things because we feel guilty or shame and we don't want people to get mad. But listen, sometimes you get yourself mad because of something that you did, and it's time to detach. So if something's not for me, then I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to go out tonight. I'm going to go to bed early because I need sleep. I know that I need sleep. Other people may not know what you need. So if you don't vocalize what you need when you need it, then you are going to be resentful and bitter, and then that's going to have you act out. And I am such a witness to that. But I've learned that self-preservation is what I need in order to keep myself within healthy boundaries and help me to stay mindful to what my needs are first, so that then I'm putting the mask to my mouth first, getting my oxygen in before I pass it along to whoever else needs it. You have to um, preserve yourself in order for you to have good self-care technique maintenance. So, what is self-care? What is self-care? We talk about it all the time. It's not just going for a massage, or it's not just spending a lot of money and shopping, but self-care has a few elements that we need to recognize. Our physical needs. What are our basic needs? We need food, we need water, we need to detox and go to the bathroom. We need to be able to take our supplements and making sure that we're giving our body the things that it needs. We need to have movement and exercise, or go for a walk, and breathing and incorporating all these different elements into our basic needs of maintaining our body. A lot of us don't realize that when we skip meals, or we eat way too much and emotionally eat, or put the wrong foods in, and then we're not drinking enough water, and we're not going to the bathroom, that causes us not to be able to detox. And all that yucky backup that we have in our bodies affects our hormones, affects how we, if you have a lot of brain fog, a lot of that has to do with what's inside of your body. So being mindful to create self-care space in your physical body is essential. Then you have psychological self-care, which is processing, taking time to separate and just process what your day was like, and process how you interact with people, and having social engagement in order for you to know that you are not isolated and by yourself. A lot of that is um, uh, A lot of people think that, oh, I don't want to trust them, I don't want to be with them. But God works through people, and we are social beings that we thrive through connection. So we have to make room for connection. Emotional self care. What am I feeling? Where do I feel my feelings? How am I expressing my feelings? Are you making room for expressing your emotions? And we don't have to always be angry and at 100 to express them. We can do it just like this with a calm, still voice. Nope, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I feel sad. This offended me. Just whatever it is that you need to express, whether that's with healthy um, um, friendships and circle of friends, and having a circle of safety is important. Or is it with a therapist? Do I need to find a therapist and express or learn what my emotions are? What am I feeling? These are all healthy ways of self-care. Your spiritual connection is important. You have to know that you are created from something greater than yourself, and having a good connection with your higher power. In my case, I'm a Christian, I'm connected to God and and Jesus as a whole. I believe in that spiritual connection. God works through people, and through that connection, I'm able to sit and listen and read the scriptures and apply them and believe in them. Whatever your higher power is, it's very important for you to create a connection and making time for personal fun time. I call this nothingness time. That means you are listening to music in the shower nice and loud and singing along to the lyrics. You're jumping around and being silly, reading a nonfiction book or a fiction book, or just making time for fun and friends. Nothing that is connected to the many hats that you wear. So this is nothingness time, even if it's doing nothing, sitting on the sofa and just watching Netflix for the night. You know what? That's your time. So use it wisely. The same thing with like professional. What do you want to do with yourself? What do you want to accomplish? What are some things that are still in your future to do? Or maybe it's a whole career change. Maybe you want to just go and be a pilot or a steward or something totally opposite of what you're doing now. Go for it. It's all This all constitutes self-care. So it's not just about spending a lot of money and creating bubble baths, but it is about you creating space for yourself, right? Creating space for self-care time. And something that I want to create is time for a safe, calm place. So even in the midst of chaos, right now I don't have chaos, right? Everything's quiet and peaceful, but I'm about to be going home. So I want to create a safe, calm space for myself, so that in the midst of all the things that are happening, I can create an imaginary container and pause things so that I can stay in this bubble for X amount of time. Like, we're going to put a time limit that you need while you're in this safe, calm space, but we're going to create that now. Okay, so I want you to get nice and comfortable. I want you to take some deep breaths. I want you to relax your shoulders. I want you to place your feet flat on the ground. If you want to lay on the floor and relax yourself, the good thing about this audio is if you come at about 20 minutes in, either the audio or the video, you can fast forward to it. You can just create this space for you every single time. So please feel free to relax yourself, lay on the floor, get you a pillow, whatever position you want to be in. You want to sit up and cross your legs, fine. You want to sit upright in a chair or a sofa, that's fine too. You want to get a pillow or a blanket, whatever it is. I just want you to create this time to create a calm, safe space. We want to breathe in and exhale out. We want to soften with each breath. We want to imagine ourselves creating an imaginary bubble around us as we breathe in and out. That bubble is covering us from the crown of our heads all the way down to our toes. Is covering us around from the front and the back to the side. We're just creating this space. I want you to pick a time of day that you can be alone with yourself in this uninterrupted time. And I want you to take time to feel relatively calm. Allow yourself to move your head from side to side. Get as relaxed as you can. Breathing in and out as you do so. Maybe your shoulders are nice and tall. You might feel your back cracking. Your neck is softening with each breath. You're sinking in more into calmness. I want you to go to a safe space. You can pick a place that is opposite from anywhere that you've been hurt. So not in your room, because maybe your room is associated with trauma. Maybe not in your childhood home, because that's associated with trauma. Find a space totally unrelated to trauma, to hurt, to chaos. So even if you're in your home right now and it's chaotic, imagine yourself in a far away place. And I want you to just create a safe space within this bubble. It could be a real place or completely made up. And I want you to go to this place where nothing bad happens. I love to be by the water. So I always imagine myself by a beach somewhere with the clear tropical water. And I want you, once you're in this space, I just want you to notice what's around you. Notice everything that makes you safe. I want you to notice the waves if you're at the beach. I want you to notice the birds if you're out in nature. I want you to feel the grass if you're sitting by a park, wherever it is that your safe, calm place is right now. I want you to just sit there and notice. Some people's safe place is maybe all totally made out of sound. So being totally surrounded by a song. Or maybe it's what you feel. Maybe you're just embraced by a blanket. Or maybe you're just doing some tapping and reassuring yourself of just calmness. Whatever it is that you're doing to create this calm, safe space for yourself. Just breathe in and out. Notice what you're seeing. What does it look like in this space? What are you hearing? Do you feel anything? Where in your body are you feeling this calmness? Do you smell anything in this safe space? Can you touch anything? Whatever it is that your five senses are being awoken to, right? Notice if there's anything that doesn't feel quite right to you. Maybe your mind is wandering back to the chaos that's around you. I just want you to notice. I don't want you to do anything. I just want you to notice and bring yourself back to this calm, safe space. Don't even be distracted by the chaos or whatever you're noticing, right? Take some deep breaths. What do you see that helps? I want you to just breathe in and out and bring yourself right back into this calm, safe space. And then I want you to pretend that you are putting a bubble around that chaos. Notice that you have control of how much noise you're letting in and how much you're letting out right now. So just keep breathing and allow yourself to stay in your calm place. Sometimes it can help to draw a picture of your safe, calm place. See if that feels like a place that you can feel safe in. And then you can add whatever it is that you want in it. Another option is to move to a different safe space that's even safer. Maybe you need to go in a little bit deeper, right? If nothing works or it feels too unsafe, stop working on it. But I want you to make a note about what makes it difficult to create a calm, safe space. What's happening right now in your body that's creating this unsafe space? Just notice it and bubble it in a container. But right now, we just want to focus on you having this calm, safe space. And once you're there, I want you to just settle and just relax. The goal is to create a space that you can feel totally safe, comfortable, relaxed, where you can just let go of the stress, let go of expectations. Maybe you're beginning to feel emotional because it's so calm that you're feeling tears welling up. This feels so good, right? Just allow yourself to feel good. Maybe you want to embrace yourself and allow yourself to learn how to create a safe space for yourself. Learning to do the safe space imagery is just the beginning, like anything. And maybe it might be a little bit uncomfortable because you've never done it. But as you practice, as you breathe in and out, as you just follow your feelings in your body, it takes a little practice. Like anything else, it takes a lot of practice. We're practicing until we're perfect, right? You can start out in a quiet parking lot. Maybe you can sneak out of your office and sit in the bathroom and just create this space of breathing, of quietness, of stilling your body. Remember, the goal is to work up to doing safe space imagery every day, 10 to 20 minutes at a time. For people, it's easier than for others. I love to close my eyes and have quiet time. And usually that's because I love to meditate. And sometimes I just sit still. So for me, it's easy, right? But it took a lot of practice. And then applying it in the midst of being activated is very important. So just creating this calm, safe space that you can go in and out of at any time is going to be very important for self-care maintenance. You have to be intentional about making space for your 30 minutes, for your 20 minutes, starting out with 10 minutes. This took about 10 minutes, right? Whatever time you need, I want you to place no judgment or strict expectations. Just know that this practice is your practice. And this breathing is your breathing. This flow is your flow. And you'll find that as you continue to sink into softness, continue to allow yourself this time to just relax, you might end up going to sleep. I always go to sleep in that laying on the floor pose. Breathing in and out actually sinks me into sleep. And I allow that because my body was asking for rest. So, maintaining this part of healing is a cause of accountability, is a cause of self-care maintenance, and you have to practice it and be intentional. Can I just invite you to be intentional about that today, right? And making space for yourself and knowing that you are worthy of love, you are worthy of taking space and making time for yourself. Can I invite you back into your body to sit with yourself and those feelings that you feel? Where do you feel them? For me, I usually always feel it in my chest because I do get anxious and my chest tightens, my breath becomes constricted, and I hunch over. But it feels good to just sit up tall, open your heart out, take breaths, and just feel yourself opening up naturally. Can I invite you to do that just for 2 seconds of the day and be intentional about doing that? Or maybe you can allow yourself to soften out of your limbic brain where you're in that fight or flight mode, where you're always busy and going. And let me invite you to your frontal, the frontal of your frontal lobe of your brain, where you get to make decisions, where you can think through clearly, where you can detach yourself from your feelings of activation, and you can detach yourself from personalization. And like I said earlier, benevolence detachment lives in your frontal lobe of your brain, because I am actively disconnecting from the negative feeling of guilt, of fight or flight, and I'm actively preserving myself in this transaction of separation. That is totally healthy to do. And we want to normalize that. We want to normalize that. We want to sit into it more. Can you raise yourself into a higher level of tolerance so that you can now think before you react? That is super important in this self-care practice, in this self-care maintenance that I am going to be taking home with me. And I am inviting you to create this space at home for yourself, or in your car, or in the shower, or on a walk. But just allow yourself to sink into calmness and learn how to self-regulate and how to calm your nervous system. Maybe if you lay on the floor and put your knees up, put your legs flat on the floor as you're laying down, put one hand to your heart, one to your belly, and I want you to just move your legs from side to side as you're laying flat on the floor. And when you do this, you're actually activating the calmness in your vagal nerve, and it's actually relaxing yourself. and relaxing and sinking into calmness as you're breathing in and out is part of healing. All self healing techniques. So excited that you've traveled with me on this trip. Please feel free to use the guided meditation that I did by the creek. You can just go right to it and allow that water flowing to just relax you into calmness. It has been a pleasure to share my healing journey with you. And I cannot wait for all the amazing things that are going to be manifesting for all of us through this authentically healing journey. Again, thank you for joining in on today's episode of Self Care Maintenance Techniques on the Authentically Healing podcast with yours truly, Bridget P. Brown, licensed clinical social worker. I love that we are ending our soul healing journey just as this has been. And until next time, we will see each other soon. Bye.